Good morning and welcome, dear friends. Welcome to our spiritual home, the Unitarian Universalist Church of Tarpon Springs. My name is Mark Linker, and I'm serving as our worship associate today. For those of you with visual impairment, I am 5'9" and shrinking. I have an orange shirt on, brown pants, and sandals. I'm enjoying this time of year. For the benefit of those with a hearing impairment, we ask that anyone speaking today speak clearly and project. We want to acknowledge that here at the church we are standing on the lands of the Tocobaga and Seminole peoples. We offer a warm welcome to the guests that are with us today. We would like to get to know you better and hope that you will join us following the service for our coffee hour and refreshments. Our mission states, we are a liberal faith community for all ages, promoting spiritual growth, social justice, and the arts. A description of our service is, today we will explore the theme of inclusion in a world that often marginalizes the most vulnerable among us. This thought-provoking sermon, delivered by guest speaker Jeanay Johnson, will reflect on the challenges faced by minorities, the impact of classism, the overlooked societal disparities that shape our world. Together we will consider how we can foster greater understanding and compassion, building a community that truly embodies justice and equality for all. Our music today is provided by our gifted music director, Bonnie Whitehurst, and also our gifted choir. Again, a warm welcome to our Sunday service.
Yeah, I could.
Our first hymn is number 298 in the Gray Book, 298, Wake Now My Senses. And if you'll notice that on the next page are two more verses, verse 4 and verse 5, which we will also be singing.
Feel the deep power of me in
Good morning, good morning. Ahoy, everyone. Thank you for welcoming me back. My name is Jeanay Johnson. I am here today to talk about inclusion and so forth. So we're going to go on a journey because I know often some folks feel that social justice isn't part of religious work, but religion has been based on social justice. Kind of think about it. The fight for speaking our truth, the quest of Trinitarianism, the Polish Brethren and so forth. There's so much history and all of it social justice embedded in religion and spirituality. So that's what I'll be sharing today. As well as a poem. I have a poem that's near and dear to my heart pertaining to nature and the various aspects of how many parts of nature just intertwined when you don't think that it would. So for those who can't see me or are unable to, I am a Cameroonian woman experiencing life through the eyes of brown eyes. My hair is adorned with locks, and I'm wearing red, white, and black because Valentine's Day is coming up. I have gold heart earrings because I just want to share the world love, and I'm just grateful for being here today. So with that being said, I would like to welcome our worship associate, Mark, in lighting our chalice.
You mean the news switches like what you did?
Well, if you want to give those, well, depending, I don't know where you're planning to put them, or if they're just more there to be cameras or something. But
Well, I'm planning to put a camera on the one and a camera on the dog
so
ear.
they're cameras.
We light this chalice to find inner peace,
Be a light over.
love for each other, and faith in ourselves. Also to be welcoming to whomever we meet and kind to all living creatures. So gather around this light of hope as we share this time together. Unitarian Universalism is a covenantal faith. We will now read together our congregation's covenant. We strive to look for and encourage the best in each other as we move toward justice, peace, love for ourselves and the world. And when we fall short, we will seek understanding, reconciliation, and a return to covenant. Let us sing together Spirit of Life, number 123 in the Gray Book. Sit or stand as you prefer.
So for the story of all ages, again, I wanted to share a poem called Nature, Oh Nature. It goes a little something like this. Nature, oh nature, why don't you make sense? Why does a squirrel run so fast on the fence? He runs and plays with blue jays all day, hiding nuts with woodpeckers in the storage of food soiree. How nature, oh nature, how can a moose love a cow? They both come from different walks of life, but somehow they found each other, love unlike no other, staying side by side all through winter and all through summer. Nature sure shows love in many, many ways. Love doesn't have to match like what the media says. Love can look like, I love you. Love can also look like, you love me too. Love can vary in many complexions of colors, though one time before and some today, some traditions said no to others. But if my skin looks like this and their skin looks like that, why can't love just be? No hassle, no frack. Oxpeckers show love by pecking picker bugs from the grazers. Some birds even show love by being a dentist to an alligator. Even dogs have found friendship with cheetahs and care. If nature shows love anywhere, why restrict love? That's not fair. Some people are husband to husband, some wife to wife. Saying no to love is like taking breath from life. In our times of sadness, hurt, and pain, love is always there to save the day. We are beautifully painted by the love that brought us here. From family love to loving nature, all things near and of course queer. There is no superior, no this or that. We are not a melting pot. We are like a salad. Jane Elliott said it best. We need our carrots and our lettuce. Our bakings depend on our varied essence. Imagine if the world was all the same. Bland it would be. Our uniqueness in nature represents our love untamed. Our skin on the surface may vary in many hues, but underneath our sternum are hearts that pump red and blue. We are unique like fingerprints, like tree stumps too. From the tiniest of seed to the largest tree, I love you. And that concludes my poem. Thank you.
Now is the time in the service when we take our offering for the work and the welfare of this church. 4 times a year we have a special purpose collection selected by the Rainbow Welcome Circle, who coordinate our social justice initiatives. Navigators USA Scouts is a secular, inclusive, all-gender scouting organization. There are over 400 chapters, troops nationwide. Chapter 358 is based right here in UUCTS and led by church members. We have 13 scouts ages 4 to 16. We camp, earn badges, work on service projects, and more. Last year we took 4 people to the National Jamboree in Colorado. This year we are hoping to take more to the National Jamboree in New York City. We aim to be an inclusive space so that any child who wants to try scouting can do so and feel welcome. You may make your checks out to UUCTS Memo Navigators. Checks can be mailed or put in this Sunday's offering. For those present here in the sanctuary, there are labeled envelopes for navigators in the pews to donate cash. For those of you joining us from home, you can donate on our website, uutarpon.org. Click the donate button, then select Social Justice Give the Plate.
So for this segment, I know it probably says it's 2 readings, but I'm going to do 1 meditation with you all, and I ask for you to participate, or not if you don't want to, but it starts with first closing your eyes. As you shut your eyes, feel your vessel, the body that carries your personality, characteristics, veins, cells, fluids, follicles, memories, perceptions of reality, and your breath. As you feel you, can you feel the imprints of pain you've endured, whether it was from childbirth, a hangnail, stomach pains, stubbing a toe, a kink in your back, the pain of a tooth? These are all of what we feel individually within our bodies, subjective to the vessel, subjective to the experience of the individual. Acknowledge this as we inclusively pivot, then think about the pain felt within cultures abroad and near collectively, the Tocobaga, Creek, Chippewa, Ojibwe, that watched their motherland be burned and taken. The Jewish families taken off group by group to never see one another again. West African tribes be mixed and cut from the tongue of their languages, mixed to the point all of them speak the language of their oppressors. The Mexicans watch as their land shrinks to near non-existence. The great Irish famine that coincided with genocide, the bubonic plague, Salem witch trials, the atrocities inflicted by the likes of ourselves. I don't want to feel this pain does not erase its existence. How can we mend? Deliver us, hear our prayer, deliver us from despair these years, grown too cruel and to stand, deliver us, there is a land you promised us, deliver us from the bondage, and deliver us from the promised land. The promised land is not some foreign land we must go to. This land is your land. This land is my land. As you sit with the remembrance of the lives lost around the world, ask yourselves, what makes me so different from you? What makes a Palestinian so much different from a Jew? From Spix to Yellow, from Negro to Gringo, we always forget. It's up to us to see that we are all one human family. And if we are all honest, we have problems within our families. That's life. We have to remember our unified breaths. So as you now open your eyes and sigh a sigh of relief collectively, your heart is nourished in compassion. Touch your neighbor if you can. Grab a hand or a shoulder, or lean your head to their shoulder, and just whisper, thank you. Thank you for being here with me, for me. May we be carried gently through each day. We carry the prayers in heightened frequencies. We are walking balls of light that newborns can see. May your smiles permeate even the darkest hours. The power is one thing that they cannot take, is our power to connect with one another. Thank you.
Whatever land you land on, the earth sycamore grow. If you cut it down, then you'll never know. And you'll never hear the wolf cry to the blue-corn moon, for whether we are white or coppered-skinned, we need to sing with all the voices of the mountain, need to paint with all the colors of the wind.
You can call the earth and still all your own deserve until
You can paint with all the colors of the wind.
It's my pleasure to introduce Jeanay Johnson this morning. Jeanay was born in Los Angeles and raised in St. Petersburg, Florida. She has dedicated over 15 years to working with children. Her diverse experience spans childcare, visual arts, spiritual development, journalism, law enforcement, communications, and civic engagement. She passionately supports the emotional intelligence and mental growth of children, fostering their creativity and innovation. Since 2017, she has been actively involved with UU St. Pete. Currently, she is a fourth-year seminary student at Star King School for the Ministry, pursuing a master's degree in divinity. Upon graduation, she will receive a certificate of psychedelic justice and companioning. Please welcome Jeanay.
Thank you. I know that psychedelic justice and social companioning, I know I'm going to get a lot of questions after that. Like, what is that? I'll definitely share during coffee hour. So, again, thank you for having me here. Wonderful day. Blessed be to know that 5 weeks are left of Florida's version of winter. Today is known as February 9th. In Rome, the midwinter day last week belonged to Juno Februata, the Virgin Mother of Mars. February in Latin means to expiate, to purify. Lei Xuan in Chinese means spring begins and is celebrated in the more temperate climate of China during the first week of February. Also last week, the attention of the nation was directed to Puxunawane, Pennsylvania, where Groundhog Day is big business. See, weather forecasters and news reporters alike converged to stake out the burrow of this furry hibernating creature in order to ascertain the true prognosis of the coming spring. Groundhog Day is a direct and thriving descendant of age-old midwinter divinatory practices, like its origin in Germany, where it was the badger that they looked out for. I highlight these aspects of different places of the world to begin to introduce inclusion and what that means in my presentation today. I want to begin by inviting you to reflect on a time in your life when you felt invisible, when your voice went unheard or your needs were overlooked. Maybe it was in a workplace, at school, in your family, or in a system that was meant to support you but somehow failed to or simply chose not to. For many of us, those moments are fleeting. For others, they are daily realities, often lessons taught at home to prepare for the outside world. Keep your hands on the steering wheel. Yes, sir. No, sir. No sudden movements. A constant reminder that society often decides who belongs and who doesn't, who gets uplifted and who gets left behind. We live in a country impudently called the United States of America, when every aspect of this land was taken by ways history books addresses as civil wars, liberations, sharecropping, or great migrations. Let me share a story. As what folks call a colored woman, a woman of color, a BIPOC, AA, African American, Negro, navigating the intersection of marginalization because of race, gender role fixations based on historical extremities, socioeconomic standings, I've often found myself straddling worlds, feeling like I have to switch my persona in certain arenas while I was trying to make space for myself in systems that weren't designed. 3/5 human, a woman of cloth, a woman of cloth? I raise my voice, I'm an angry Black woman. I'm raising my daughter on my own, I must be on housing, Section 8, food stamps. Maybe I'm too masculine, too independent to have a partner. I'm what they call Black, the shunned absence of color, the shadow to the light, which is whites, the bottom of the barrel, the ghetto, the ratchet. My locks must be kept because if they're not, they're dirty. The experience is both isolating and clarifying because it teaches you and me in the hardest ways that the margins are not accidents. They are built and constantly reinforced by the media's 6 companies that purports the imagery on every platform since print publications in 1440 and to when TV was invented in 1927. Printed propaganda actually began with our government in 1914. They didn't hesitate at all. And so our work as compassionate, justice-driven people is to rebuild, to bring everyone back to the center, back for the first time. The fight is not in marching or screaming, ah, or painted signs. The fight is gaining insight, knowledge, wisdom to recognize what the program is, and to teach as many as we can. I want to invite us all today to lean into that discomfort, to question what we take for granted, and to what we can live more fully in the spirit of conclusion, because as we look at kids, for example, it's easy to take for granted what you have. I have a teenager, she has everything, and she's always needing something. So what are margins? In society, the margins are where people are pushed when they don't conform to what's considered the norm. Margins are often defined by race, gender, class, ability, sexuality, and so much more. But these divisions aren't neutral. They're created and upheld by systems of power, economically, socially, politically, mentally, emotionally, religiously, and spiritually alike, that benefit some at the expense of others. For many of us, it's easy to not see the margins unless we've been placed there. Specifically, like a time that we've been on crutches, and then we realize there aren't any ramps, there are no elevators, or where we have friends that can share stories with us. I had a friend whose religious practice was to wear a hijab in public. It was specified to not show their hair around men unless they were at home or it was with the loved one. The story she told about her treatment after September 11th hurt only hearing what her experience was. I couldn't imagine what it would actually be like if I experienced it. The energetic flooding of emotions converging with the physical behaviors of people's eyes and assumptions that she was there to bring harm to everyone, the raspy tones of unanswered questions embedded in the derogatory remarks as she proceeded past. Oh, look at her. Where is she going? What is she doing? Check her bag. When your life fits into society's mold, the disparities can seem invisible. But for those living at the edges, the harm is glaring. It's unavoidable, obvious, and deeply, deeply personal. So today, we're going to unpack these systemic harms and explore how we, as individuals within this faith community and beyond, can move toward true inclusion. So, for starters, the systemic disparities. Wealth inequality is obnoxiously visible. In 2021, for example, checks were sent to everyone making under $100,000 a year. Now, those who truly didn't need the money was able to save it, collect it within their families, establishing a deeper aspect of generational wealth. Those who needed the money had to spend it and became dependent on the funds that eventually stopped. And then inflation skyrocketed beyond percentages we have not seen before. And many people were forced to lose their homes while people were migrating by the droves, purchasing homes for more than the asking price with cash on hand. In the United States, the top 1% owns more wealth than the bottom 90 combined. Asinine as that sounds, it's reality. Meanwhile, the working poor, often women and people of color, struggle to make ends meet despite holding multiple jobs. People making $700 an hour have convinced people who make $25 an hour that people who are asking for minimum wage to go up are the problem. Really? Access to quality health care is another area of inequality. Marginalized communities often face higher rates of illnesses and mortality down to the zip codes. Not because of biology, but because of systemic neglect. It's in the system, it's in the program. For example, maternal mortality rates among Black women and Indigenous women are significantly higher than among white women. Even when factors like education and income are controlled, the stereotype was implemented and illegally practiced when they hypothesized that these women don't feel pain. They don't feel pain. She doesn't need any pain pills, she's fine. Education in public schools in lower income areas, often predominantly serving minority populations, receive less funding and fewer resources than schools in wealthier districts, perpetuating cycles of poverty. So the school pipeline to prison stays active, alive, and thriving. That is not where we want our energy going. Families are often unaware of the differences, especially if they don't travel. So by the program, they repeat the same harm within their households, and the children grow up not knowing the differences, thus perpetuating the same aspects. And it keeps going on and on and on and on. For those who live in privilege, whether it's economic, racial, or otherwise, these divides can be hard to see. They're like the air you breathe. You don't notice it until it becomes cold and then you see the air. Margins show up in the jobs that they can't access, the health care they can't afford, the doors or the walkways they can't get through because it's not wide enough to accommodate their space. The stairs with no ramp, the stairs with no elevator, the language with no braille. They're alive and well and woven into the fabric of our daily lives. And then we flow into the personal impact. The toll of marginalization is not just systemic, it's deeply personal. It's the stress of working twice as hard to be taken half as seriously. It's the exhaustion of explaining your humanity to those who refuse to see it. I keep going back to the example of the crutches. You don't realize the accessibility issues until you're on crutches. But then you have a friend that's coming by you and realize they can't get in the building. It wasn't until the early 1990s where the ADA was even introduced to accommodate that. So what were they doing up until that time? I would say even my church at UU St. Pete had to build a ramp because when it was built in 1929, it was just stairs. So how were people getting inside? It's the physical and mental health challenges that come from living in a constant state of vigilance and scarcity. Marginalization strips the people of their dignity, but it also reveals their resilience because those same people fight and they go forward. If it wasn't for a young girl that had to climb the steps in front of the White House, the ADA would not even really bat an eye. I can't remember her name to save my life, but this young girl left her wheelchair and started to climb up just to show her having cerebral palsy. She needed to have access to get up, change something. That perseverance is the wind to fill your sail. That resilience is something we must honor and uplift. So the vision of inclusion. Empathy is an excellent starting point. The journey towards the inclusion begins with empathy. Well, actually, it starts with hearing the hard stuff first, and then we can flow into empathy. Empathy means more than feeling sorry for someone, like, oh, poor them. It means stepping into their shoes, listening to their stories, and allowing their experiences to change you. It requires humility and a willingness to unlearn the program. As a faith community, we are called to be radical listeners, to open our hearts and minds to perspectives that challenge our assumptions. And as UUs, you already know, we will vote until the goal is met. But empathy alone is not enough. We must also act. This is not talking about fighting. No, you fight by speaking up, not physical confrontation. Speak up. Challenging injustice means naming the systems of harm, even when it's uncomfortable, because it's going to be. It means standing up against classism, racism, sexism, ableisms, and all the other isms that society tells us that these people are, they're less than, don't worry about them. Are you fine? Okay, good. How can we consider this? So I like to look at some actionable steps to include advocacy. Supporting policies for starters that promote equity, whether it's raising the minimum wage, increasing best healthcare access, or funding education, or even just signing up to be a mentor, to be a positive adult model in a youth's life. Statistics show that suicide rates dramatically decrease when a child is exposed to a positive adult role model. Check out your school board. Pinellas County is actually looking for mentors right now. This is a brief commercial break. They are looking right now and offer brief trainings because the youth really need it. In all reality, sometimes the attention that they get at home is not what they need, but that one person that comes in that dedicates that 30 minutes on a lunch period to see them, that can change so much and provide them a different perspective. Also, education. Learning about the histories of marginalized groups so we can better understand and support. Listening to the hard conversations, not to wallow in guilt and self-pity. No, don't stay there. That frequency is too low. Let's bring it up, so we can gain an understanding from the outside in order to be informed. And also amplifying voices, creating platforms for those at the margins to share their stories and lead the way, like bringing in guest speakers. The Unitarian Universalist principles calls you to inform the inherent worth and dignity of every person. It's embedded. It's not just a belief, it's a practice. It's not just something that you say out loud, it's something that you do, because what is love but really an action word? You can say I love you, but there's no action implied. Who can feel it? It means examining our own biases, holding ourselves accountable, and continually asking, who is being left out, and how can we bring them in? Inclusion begins within us. It starts with asking the hard questions. Of course, put in the forefront, may I ask you a hard question? So you can give them an opportunity to think, do I want to ask this question? Do I want to answer this question? To give them an opportunity to choose, I've never been asked that before. Thank you for that filter before I can choose to answer. Because no one likes being cornered when being asked a question at all, for certainly not. You're stuck in a space like, oh God, they're looking at me. But how have I benefited from someone else's exclusion? And what can I do to change that? As a community, we are stronger when we bring everyone to the table. This requires intention. It requires courage, and always it requires love. There's so much pain transpiring now just because of what's happening out there in DC. We often forget that we are a community still bridged together with love. Not the soft, comfortable kind of love, but the kind of love that challenges, stretches, and transforms us. And those who have been married for 20 plus years absolutely know that. So I leave you with this challenge. In this life, until the day you are called home, find one way or several ways to step out of your comfort zone. Better yet, whatever your favorite number is, aim for that number and find those ways to step out of your comfort zone in the name of inclusion. Because if the caterpillar really stayed in its comfort zone, it would never become a butterfly. It's literally liquid down to the anatomical structure of being. That can't be comfortable at all. And yet, that's part of its perseverance, its resilience. Maybe it's also having a conversation with someone whose life experience is different from yours. Maybe it's mentoring, like I said, volunteering, donating, or advocating for a cause that uplifts the marginalized. I will also say specifically with donating, also being mindful of who you're supporting, because unfortunately, people use love as a weapon and take the funds that we intend for something good and utilize it in a different way. So of course, look into it. Whatever it is, know that your actions, no matter how small, are a part of a larger ripple effect. All it takes is a seed. So I said all these things because even though the definitions exist, even though the system is still there, I'm not going to just poof and the TV just stops doing it. The newspaper is not going to magically stop. But one thing that this system, the matrix, the totalitarian government neglects to exemplify is the love of the collective. One acknowledgement, the main one that they don't touch because they're afraid if we recognize it, we would actually really unify stronger, is that we are all one human race.
Set amount, and she's got so many pictures and music that she went over the top.
Thank you.
They should have set her up at the school. They did set her up before. She hit the limit. She didn't.
Well, I don't know
Our
that she
final hymn
understood
is
that.
number 1026 in the Teal hymn book, Give Every Woman in the World, number 1026 in your Teal hymn book.
Without doing that.
Thank you.
But
When I give you four numbers, the color of your hymn book changes.
$2 a month, $3 a month, and apparently this bunch of them sort them off.
Thank you so much, Mark and Bonnie, for the words and the music. Let us close with a moment of reflection and prayer. Mother Gaia, Father Elohim, nature's sprites, ancestors of love, Yahweh, conjoined with the spirit of love and justice, we ask for the courage to see the unseen, to hear the unheard, and to love the unloved. May we build bridges where there are divides, light where there is darkness, and hope where there is despair. Guide us in the work of inclusion, not just today, but every day for the remainder of our lives. Blessed be, Amen, and Ashe.
We hope you have found meaning in today's service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of peace and love for ourselves and others. May we carry kindness and compassion in our hearts and out into the world. Each week we set aside time to honor the joys and sorrows